Is that one of our own?
There are no B.I.R.C.H operatives currently MIA.
Am I looking at myself? Is that me?
Negative. You are you. Retrieve any artifacts immediately and depart.
Fair enough. The artifact appears to be a match. It's a Beretta handgun. I didn't know that B.I.R.C.H was still fielding any of these.
They do not.
I'll just retrieve his grounding case and this mysterious badge, and we'll be done. Ask someone what they think of the Beretta M9, and they'll either say it's a boat anchor or Bohemian Rhapsody. Either way, it isn't just a pistol, it's a dimensional barnacle. And until we figure out why it's clinging to the hull of history so adamantly, it's staying on the anomaly list.
Any factual anomalies in this presentation are merely eventuali varianze attuali. In questa presentazione sono semplicemente discrepanze dimensionali.
Hello, Agent 12. What brings you to the archives today?
I want to understand why, in an era where polymer is king, the Beretta 92 is still here. And with recent M18 and P320 controversies, could it make a comeback?
You may proceed.
Welcome to the Archives, a pocket dimension with over 1,000 square miles dedicated to storing small armed dimensional artifacts. We have every weapon mankind has ever made across every instance of Earth we've discovered so far.
Proposal: analysis of Beretta models with different feature sets from the archives to determine the artifact's strengths, weaknesses, and compliance across various dimensions. The following artifacts may be used: a previously secured M9A4 custom and the 92X recovered from a downed agent.
And then we can look into this?
Negative.
Please enjoy the messages from these valuable partners. Those caught not enjoying will be subject to reintegration. We couldn't do our job here at B.I.R.C.H without Checkmate magazines. Checkmate is the leading provider of high-quality aftermarket and OEM magazines for 1911's M1A and M14 rifles, Beretta 92 FS and M9 pistols, Shield, Desert Eagle, and other popular firearms. 100% developed and manufactured in the USA, backed by a lifetime factory warranty. Checkmate, American-made precision firearm components. Global Ordnance is our munitions partner, providing Igman 124 grain 9mm and Sterling 147 grain 9mm, all of which performed without failure. And X-Tar USA, makers of fun, lightweight, reliable, and affordable polymers, available in 9mm, 45 ACP, short and long variants. You'll adore your X-Tar polymers. We guarantee it. Those not enjoying their X-Tar polymers will be subject to reintegration. Thank you for your time, and may this help you better serve the greater omniplane.
Run baseline comparison. Begin with system classification.
The Beretta 92 was designed in 1975 by Fabbrica d'Armi Pietro Beretta, the oldest firearms manufacturer in the prime timeline. After a series of performance and safety updates to make the firearm fit for government testing, the Beretta 92 SF was adopted by the US military as the M9 in 1985, replacing the 1911 after nearly 75 years of service. Despite immediate pushback from operators and documented performance issues under combat conditions, the 92 platform endured in formal service roles for over 3 decades. However, this pattern is not isolated. Dimensional drift scans of timelines 24 Delta, 31M, and Omega 6 reveal persistent adoption of the 92FS and its derivatives, even in worlds where polymer frames, red dot optics, and modern ergonomics emerged decades earlier. The Beretta 92 pistol evolved from earlier Beretta designs, most notably the M1923 and M1951, and featured a double-stack high-capacity magazine like that of the Browning High Power, a double and single action, an open slide, and the falling locking block design originally introduced on the Walther P38.
Growing up, these guns were iconic in movies and television. Every time you turn on the TV, especially TNT, you'd see either Mel Gibson or Bruce Willis with a Beretta 92 SF. But like those curated movies and TV shows, these are two very curated guns. So before we go any further, let's break them down bit by bit for the greater Army plane. Let's start with the M9A4. The M9A4 represents the end of the 30-year service run and incorporated small improvements over the M9A3, which was the competitor against the SIG, M17, and M18. A threaded barrel is standard. It includes sand-resistant magazines, a decocker only on the slide, a revised grip texture, improved trigger, and it's optic compatible. This is not the gun your dad was issued in the 80s, but it's the same DNA. Up front is an Echo Machine TLX 9mm suppressor. Due to the light weight of the can and the non-tilting barrel action, the M9 is able to run supers and subs without the need for a booster. This gun runs great suppressed, but the open slide design does permit more debris to fly out, and I was struck in the face with carbon on a few occasions. Eye protection is a must. These guns really look good with a weapon light, and this X300 adds another shade of FDE. A Langdon tactical trigger job and Beretta match hammer are the real highlight here. The pull and double action is incredibly smooth and lighter than you'd expect, and single action is sublime. Operation is near effortless. Now that smooth double action is especially helpful on this variant, because unlike the traditional M9 and 92 SF models, the G-Series has a slide-mounted decocker only. The Langdon trigger is so good in double action that you can then draw and shoot with more confidence that your aim won't be compromised by an overweight trigger pull. It also helps make sure the gun doesn't go off on its own, like another gun that I know of. Dela Design's RMR plate sits nice and low and really modernizes the M9. And this Holosun 508T looks great up top. One of the complaints of the M9 is the minimal slide grip and exposed barrel, which obviously gets warm under sustained fire. I found an optic up top really helps with slide manipulation in these situations, so it has multiple benefits. Now, just when I thought the M9 couldn't be any more polarizing, this 92XI comes along. Some will love it, some will hate it. Blackbeard Customs built this gun, showing an unprecedented amount of freedom allowed to a B.I.R.C.H agent. Any such item recovered by our branch would be totally off limits for duty use.
I'm detecting envy. Should we book an appointment with your B.I.R.C. branch safety officer?
I'm just stating facts about policy. Upgrades include a ported barrel for reduced recoil, a custom guide rod, Langdon tactical springs, a custom trigger face, custom grips, and a Cerakote job called Ancient Mariner. And because it's an XI model, it has a single action trigger and a frame-mounted safety, like a 1911, making it less likely to activate unintentionally while holstering. Accidental safety manipulation was one of the user complaints against the M9A3 when it was beat by the M17. This relocation to the frame matches the M17 and may have remedied that issue, but the M17 offered many other benefits, like modularity, low cost, and a modern design. Now that's not to say that the M18 and the P320 don't have their own issues, but we're here to talk about the 92 and the M9. Tell me about the most controversial aspects of the M9.
During early production of the 92 series in 1987, Beretta was producing the frames in the United States, while the slides were produced in Italy. Some say inconsistencies in metallurgy occurred, others say it was Plus B ammunition. Either way, the results were a small group of slides that cracked, or even came apart during firing, injuring the user in 3 incidents. After these incidents, all production of M9 slides were moved to the United States to preserve quality and consistency. Since then, there have been no mass-reported incidents of slide failure.
That's the problem I hear quoted the most. So either those issues were isolated to the earlier models, or Beretta, the US military, 37 other militaries, and countless police agencies across the world have covered up reports of these occurring since, not to mention civilian reports. I want to see that same study, but for the P320 and M18.
We regret to inform you that we are unable to release any reports about the specified artifacts. Obviously, that means there are no issues, and you can move along now. Any further inquiries will result in reintegration.
Okay.
Another major controversy regarding the M9 was the move to the 9mm cartridge for NATO standardization. Some service members and civilians consider the cartridge inferior to 45 ACP.
The mass adoption of 9mm can be argued all day, but one thing's for sure, 45 ACP isn't making a comeback anytime soon. Are there any claims in here that stand up?
Some frustrations stem from the general state of their individual service M9. With such a vast adoption in militaries and law enforcement, there are bound to be examples in circulation dating back several decades. Neglect in maintenance, exposure to extreme conditions, or extending the life of the sidearm past its recommended round count due to budgetary reasons could result in poor performance. However, this rule doesn't just apply to the M9, but to all tools.
Obviously, these examples we're testing are exceptional firearms within the M9 and 92 platter of models. Each of them have the word Langdon in their build list, putting them in their own league. So while the majority of M9s and 92s that service members, law enforcement, and civilians interacted with are a downgrade from these, the data suggests that the sidearm had more in common with them than they did with a boat anchor, with consideration to their condition and service life. Short answer, it was better than it was worse. But that latter title isn't totally inaccurate. The Beretta 92 is what we at B.I.R.C.H call a dimensional anchor point, a weapon so common, photogenic, and weirdly charismatic that it refuses to be erased from reality. Kind of like denim jeans or Keanu Reeves. Its heritage and development path from the P38 tells us that dimensional manipulation or placement are unlikely, and that standardization, cost-effectiveness, reliability, and some good looks are what let it live this long. Thank you for watching. This was a bit of a departure from my usual take my sweet time to produce a video, and I hope to keep delivering these on a consistent schedule, but my hair is still on fire from this one. Now, I am a videographer and photographer by trade, so make sure to check out my Instagram to see some of my other work, and I also do contracts outside of the gun industry. So if you're a business and you're looking for video or photography, or you want to sponsor 12 Spies, make sure to hit me up on Instagram at 12 Spies. That's 12_spies. Thank you. I hope you'll have a great day. Thank you for watching. I'm so blessed to be able to do this, and Christ is Lord.